Hello everyone and welcome to Victoria's Cantina. Today we're having a look at the Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series Target exclusive 3-pack featuring Imperial Death Trooper, Captain Cassian Andor, and Sergeant Jyn Erso 6-inch scale figures. The packaging, as you can see, is very similar to any Black Series packaging we've seen over the last year, except it's stretched out in order to accommodate 3 action figures. Pretty nice renders of those characters. You can see the figures within the packaging very well. You can see all of their accessories. The side of the box simply says Star Wars The Black Series. The opposite side lists the name of the characters, and there is no numerical designation like all Black Series exclusive figures. And then here at the back, you get a description of each of the characters. So I'm not going to read these because it would take a little too much time, but if you want to go ahead and pause and read that, feel free to do that. These are the same descriptions I believe that we have already seen in the past, so nothing really too new there. But I do want to remark that the images of the characters are very nice. I really like the execution there. The top of the box lets you peek inside and see the figures from the top, and then here at the bottom, all of those usual little details about distribution and such, and there is your barcode. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get these figures unboxed, and when we come back, we'll take a closer look and see what they're like. Alright you guys, and here are the figures out of the packaging. We're going to go ahead and focus on each one of these individually. So let's go ahead and focus first on Jyn Erso. So this figure is a repack of the individually released Black Series 6-inch Jyn Erso, which itself was a repack of the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Jyn Erso. Same exact figures, just being brought back multiple times and even in some case revisions for the 6-inch Black Series line. The figure itself doesn't look bad. I think that her sculpting for the body looks great. The head, I'm not really feeling that, and we'll get into all that in just a little bit. But focusing first on the silhouette of the figure, she's got nice proportions, I think, for the most part. I like the coloring of her outfit. The sculpting on the figure is nice, looks to have good texturing done to her outfit. And being a Black Series figure, she has a good little bit of articulation and comes with one weapon accessory. Now, despite my being at San Diego Comic-Con this year, I was not able to get this figure as an exclusive because they had run out, but I knew they were releasing it into the main line, so it wasn't a big deal. And then I found out about this Target exclusive 3-pack, and I was like, okay, well, that's probably going to be the pack to get. So I waited, and finally, here she is. Here's a close-up of her face. I have some problems with this face. I know that Hasbro described her as looking pretty back at Star Wars Celebration Europe. And the figure looks pretty, yeah. They kind of give it this sort of feminine, dolled up sort of look. So if that's what they meant, then yeah, she does look pretty. But she doesn't really look like Jyn Erso. So I don't really know what they were trying to accomplish with this figure. If pretty was what they wanted, then pretty is what they got, but it doesn't look like the actress. There's just too much makeup going on. When you look at Felicity, she looks more mature. She's in her early to mid-30s, I think, so this just doesn't look like her. I mean, this looks like a kid. I mean, maybe the sculpting is mostly there. I mean, not even the sculpting looks that great, but the makeup in the paint is, well, it looks nice and it's pretty clean. It just doesn't look right. It's a little bit too prettied up. So let me go ahead and remove this little headpiece so we can take a closer look. And I guess if you want to call this an accessory, you can do that. This is really hard to get off. One sec. That was a little too difficult to get off in my opinion, but now that it's off, the figure does look about the same. She still looks too young, a little too prettied. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It just doesn't look like the character. I mean, it just doesn't look like her at all, unfortunately. And, you know, I would argue that for what's probably going to be the main character of the film, they probably should have spent a little more effort getting it just right. The likeness isn't quite there, unfortunately. What they did, though, I mean, it looks good. Like I said, the paint is pretty clean. There's a tiny little spot there on her left cheek. But the lips look good. The eyebrows are nice. The eyes are pretty nice. Hairline paint is pretty clean. And the sculpting of the hair isn't bad. It's not remarkable, but it's not bad either. It's just basically painted like brown. And the skin tone is a little too pale. I think it needed to be a little bit more of a natural, deeper skin tone. It just looks a little too washed out. The outfit itself looks really good. And this is where the figure does shine, is that the outfit is very nicely sculpted and very nicely painted. I really do like the way that they sculpted like her vest. And from the back, it looks great. The sleeves look nice. They got some texture to them. Same with the pants. They look good, and you can see that there is some nice texturing on there. A little bit of a gloss to the pants, and same with her sleeves, which I don't know if that's movie accurate or not, but it looks good. The body looks good. I'm really happy with that. The coloration, like I said, is nice. You get different shades of green and brown and this darker grayish black color. Boots look like they have a little bit of brown on them down here. And she's got a holster, which is pretty nice. And connects to this belt that goes around her waist. It's a separately sculpted piece. The vest is also a separately sculpted piece. And she's got these little gloves on her. And the boots do look pretty nice. I like them. The biggest problem I have is just with that head sculpt. It just doesn't feel right. Now, in terms of articulation, you do have a ball joint here at the head, and it actually gets a pretty good range of movement. That's a very nice amount of down movement and upward movement. You can go side to side. You can tilt it slightly. You got ball joints here at the shoulders. They're not obstructed by anything, which is great. Ball hinging at both of the elbows. You get bends and swivels at both of the wrists. This one goes forward and backward. And then the other one goes up and down. Here at the torso, we have a joint there at the upper torso. It's essentially just a swivel because you can't really get it to do anything else. She's got ball hinging at both of the hips, and she doesn't do the best split. I mean, it's a little bit hindered on the right side because of that holster, but it seems like it's enough movement, I would say. You can't get enough forward movement there. She's got cuts at both of the thighs, so they're pretty stiff. You get your double bends here at the knees, and then you get ball hinging at both of the ankles, along with rocker swivels, so nicely articulated overall. No complaints in the articulation department. You do get one weapon, and that is the blaster that Jyn comes with. And it's basically pretty simple. It's a pistol, silver and black paint, looks decent enough. And you can put the blaster into the holster. Just pull up on this latch right there. You'll see that opens up. And then go ahead and slide in the pistol. It's a very nice fit right there. And then we'll go ahead and close this up. We'll just go ahead and plug this little piece into that socket. And this is very tiny, so you have to use your nails basically. And there it is. You also get the headpiece, which I talked about a little while ago. And like I said, it is very difficult to get off, but looking at the headpiece itself, it looks nice. I mean, it basically just looks like a scarf that she has wrapped around her head. And there's not a whole lot of texture or anything on the inside, but from the back, it has a decent little amount there of texturing and sculpt work. So it's very simple, but it seems to get the job done. Here's a comparison of the regular release / Target exclusive 3-pack Jyn Erso and the Kmart exclusive Jyn Erso figures from the 6-inch Black Series lineup. Obviously the head sculpts are quite different, but also the bodies appear to be pretty different. It almost seems like they may share parts for the legs and the holster, but as you can see with the Kmart version, she's pretty warped because she's been standing on her base, which kind of requires her to be in a pretty extreme pose. And I feel that the legs are more rubbery on this figure overall. The regular release version feels more solid, more durable all around. Here's a close-up of the two head sculpts. And these look like two entirely different people, and neither one of them looks like the character. So what gives, Hasbro? I don't know which one I like better. I'm kind of inclined to say that I like the regular release better. That one just doesn't look like her, at all. Neither of them do, but wow. I really don't know what happened here, but this is pretty bad. I even picked up the basic one, the 3 3/4 inch Black Series Jyn, and that looks a little more like her, I would say. At least in terms of sculpt, even if paint isn't perfect, but it still doesn't look all that much like her. So we're left with these options here for 6-inch, unfortunately. Next up, we have Captain Cassian Andor. And Captain Andor has been released previously in the 6-inch Black Series, but he's wearing a jacket that kind of looks like Han Solo's Hoth jacket. And this one doesn't have that. This one's actually wearing a different jacket that's kind of more traditional Star Wars type looking. It's a little bit Han Solo from Empire Strikes Back, but also something you see with the Rebel Alliance. And I like it. It looks quite good. Also reminds me of Poe Dameron a good little bit. The figure kind of looks like it could be Poe Dameron, but it's not. I think the proportions on this figure are actually very nice. I think that it's got great sculpting. The coloring for the outfit is very well done. I just really like the overall aesthetic here. He's got a fair bit of articulation and comes with one weapon accessory. Go ahead and give you a close-up here of the face. And, I mean, it looks decent, I guess. I do have some big problems with it. As far as the likeness goes, though, I mean, it looks more or less like the character as we've been seeing in the trailers. It's not perfect, though. I don't know. It has some issues, and I think that mostly what I'm seeing here is that the eyes are kind of like a red color. I don't know why. The eyebrows look very erratic, not very natural looking, just too bushy looking. The goatee looks okay, but it's painted differently from the hair he has on the side of his face for the beard, so it's just a very odd aesthetic, not to mention the fact that they used a very pale sort of plastic for the face. It looks very washed out. The hair does look pretty good, though. I do like what they did with the hair here. It's got nice sculpting to it, and it's basically just one color, but I really do like the way that it looks. I would say that it's got a passing resemblance to the actor Diego Luna, who's the Mexican actor, and very handsome, I might add. And I mean, this does kind of capture his aesthetic, but it's not perfect. Definitely needs some work. As far as the rest of the outfit goes, that's where this figure really shines, is the rest of the outfit. The jacket looks great. Very nice sculpture on it. Nice texturing to it. They did a good job giving it a sort of a leathery appearance. And I dig what they did here. He's got this off-white undershirt. He's got these tan-colored pants, which look pretty nice. Pretty nicely sculpted. He's got a belt right there with a holster. It's a separately sculpted piece that's permanently affixed to the rest of the figure. And he's got some short brown boots, and those look pretty good as well. No complaints there. Overall, it's a good looking figure. I just don't really like the head a whole lot. I mean, it works, but it could have been so much better. In terms of articulation, you get a ball joint here at the head, and it doesn't really go up or down too much, but you can go side to side a good little bit. You get ball hinging at both of these shoulders. They're very tight joints, but they're not obstructed in any way. You get ball hinging at both of the elbows. I was going to say shoulders, but elbows. And then here at the wrists, you get bends and swivels. This one goes forward and back, and then this one goes forward and back as well, though please note they are very tight. There's just not a whole lot of clearance for them, so it's really hard to get any decent movement out of them. You get a ball joint here at the upper torso. Pretty good amount of movement there. Ball hinging at both of the hips. He does a pretty good split. It's not a full split, obviously, but seems like it's articulated enough. You can go forward quite a bit. You get swivels at both of the thighs. You get your double bends here at the knees. And then you get hinging at both of the ankles, along with your rocker swivels. So overall, very nicely articulated and definitely on par for anything we see with the 6-inch Black series. Now, the weapon he comes with is an interesting one. It is a collapsible weapon, so you can pull it apart, and it just comes apart like that. So you can basically have him just use this piece right here as a pistol if you wanted to do that. And I mean, it works like that because he's got a holster right there, and you can just slide it in. It's a really good fit. And then you can also place it in his hand just like this, and he holds it very well, and that looks really good. Very nice fit. But if you wanted to connect it together, that's one of the cool little hidden features of the figure. So basically this piece just plugs in right there, becomes the middle piece, and then this other piece just clasps onto the back. And now he has a full-length rifle, which I really like, and he holds it just like that. Awesome. And finally, we turn our attention to the Imperial Death Trooper. And this is a figure that we've reviewed before. We had the regular release figure that we looked at. The difference here with this one is that you get a pauldron, which is attached to this bandolier that's attached to a belt that looks like it has grenades in it. That's the only thing that's different about it. It's essentially going to be the same figure. You get the same two weapons, so I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it, but I do want to say that I think that initially I was a little bit too forgiving with this figure, and since then, every time I look at it, I just can't help but notice that it's too lanky. The arms are too skinny, the legs are too skinny, And I understand that they purposefully selected very tall and very thin actors to wear this costume for Rogue One. But I mean, come on. Imagine if you took off all that armor that he's got on the arms and on the legs. How skinny would those legs and arms be? I mean, it's unrealistic. It looks good as a figure, as a toy, but it's not very realistic. Other than that, I think it's a pretty solid release. The proportions of the helmet to the torso do look quite good. It's just the arms and legs that are problematic. I really do like the paint. That's one thing that I think has always been very good about this figure is the very glossy black that the body has. That's also mixed in with more matte sort of a black, dark grayish sort of elements that you see here, such as the bodysuit underneath the armor. There is a good bit of articulation, and like I said, it does come with the same two accessories as before. Looking at it up close, I really was impressed the first time we reviewed the helmet. I think that it looks very good. It's got great sculpting, and I really like how it's kind of got these little green elements to the visor, as well as these little, whatever you call those there for the mask. That's very cool. Very nice little details. I do kind of feel like the pauldron looks a little bit oversized, and including this piece right here that's attached to the bandolier. Looks a little bit large, and it kind of even accentuates the issues of this figure being very lanky and very narrow. But it gets the job done. It works. I'm glad it's not just a straight up repack. At least they did something a little bit different. And in the trailers, we do see that there are some officers that wear the pauldron. So it's nice that we have that in action figure form. You can see that attaches here at the back. And it looks like he's got some grenades of some sort that are in there. Unfortunately, they don't come out. It'd be kind of cool if they did. And this is basically just like a very soft rubbery piece that's attached there. You still have your holster here, and that still retains the smaller of the two pistols, which is this one right here. Same one we saw before. And you also get the same other longer rifle, which is a little bit warped, as you can see. And I mean, it looks good. Same color as the other one, but you do get a little bit of red paint. One thing I didn't notice last time is that these guys have a Darth Vader type belt buckle. And I don't really know how I feel about that, because I really like Darth Vader's costume. And, I like that his costume is very unique to him. So I'm not sure how I feel about them lending elements of the costume to these troopers. But on the other hand, it does kind of tie into Darth Vader. So that's kind of cool. Here's a comparison of the Target 3-pack Imperial Death Trooper along with the regular release Imperial Death Trooper. And again, only thing difference is the pauldron with the connected bandolier. Everything else is the same. Being a trooper, it is nice to have multiples of this figure. One notable thing though is that not all the troopers in the trailers have this little sort of camera piece that's mounted onto the helmet that you see there on the side. So hopefully they release a version 2 that does not have that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Hasbro Star Wars The Black Series Target exclusive 3-pack of 6-inch figures featuring Sergeant Jyn Erso, Captain Cassian Andor, and Imperial Death Trooper. Overall, it's a nice set. If you already have this version of Jyn Erso, though, and you already have the Death Trooper and don't really care about having the pauldron, then it's not really worth it just to get Captain Cassian Andor, even though I think that this is a very nice version of that figure, and it's nice that we have him in this 3-pack. I think that getting an extra trooper is very nice, and the fact that he does have the pauldron makes him a little bit different. This set retails at $60, but when I got it, Target was running a 20% off promo, so I did get it at a discount, and I'm really happy with it. I honestly am really happy with it. I think this will also be a good gift set if you're giving a Star Wars fan a gift for the holidays. Alright, my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If so, give us a like, give us a subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Be sure to check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And as always, I want to thank you for tuning in to Victoria's Cantina. Until next time, my friends. Bye-bye.